Alright, so sneaker bots work like this, right? They're task-based, right? So if you were going for a sneaker on your phone with one entry, you're considered one task, right? What sneaker bots give the users an ability to do is create hundreds, sometimes thousands of tasks, greatly improving the user's chance at a checkout. And in this video, I'm gonna explain to you every faction, every way how sneaker bots work. I'm gonna do it in easy terms that anybody can understand. And I'm gonna show you one of the most exclusive sneaker bots. One of the sneaker bots who don't even want their identity to be revealed, which I won't reveal, and I'm gonna do it all in this video. All right, so we are in actually one of the most exclusive bots right now, and I'm not gonna call it out by name because they frown upon it, although they have stuff on YouTube about it. But anyway, the first thing I want to go over is proxies. All right, now here's the breakdown between a proxy. Here is why you need proxies, right? As you see on this graph, it's a proxy server, and the internet, right? You've heard me refer to this as sort of like your ID, right? So these devices over here, the computer, the laptop, the phone, that's all of you. That's one ID. And then the server is what's checking IDs, and then the internet is what's sort of accepting IDs. So think about this as like you're trying to enter a club, right? And remember, with sneaker reselling, with purchasing limited items, it's supposed to be one per customer. It's supposed to be limited one per customer. So with that, you need multiple IDs, right? So what proxies are basically alternate IP addresses, right? Because all these, like if all these are on the same Wi-Fi connection, that's going to be one IP address, right? If you're on Wi-Fi here, you're on, let's say, your hotspot here, and then you're using your mobile data, then at that point you have 3 different IDs, and then 2. This would interpret all 3 of these as different things. However, if you're all on the same Wi-Fi, you're all one. All right, so that's pretty much the breakdown of proxies. Now, as far as proxies and where you get proxies, right now we are live in my cook group, and before I just show you where I'm getting the proxies in my cook group, users are having a lot of success. Like you see it here, we hit the Tiffany's, we hit the UNC 5s, people are getting their shipments in, and bro, all these people were newcomers, beginners at the beginning, right? So that's basically what we got going on. But anyway, proxies, a lot of times if you're in a cook group, bro, you're gonna get referred the best proxies. I know with me, I'm going with Proxy Chimp, and they kind of have a web UI that you can use, but I'm gonna use this website to kind of break down the different kinds of proxies and explain them to you, right? So I'm gonna go over residential, then I'm gonna go over data center, right? So residential proxies are slower proxies, right? They support many sites. These are most commonly used on sites like Foot Locker, maybe running Restock. Now, if you notice, and once you see the next module, it'll kind of make sense to you. But if you notice right here, bro, you pay for gigabytes, right? The reason why is because these proxies are kind of like your phone plan. A lot of y'all aren't old enough to remember back before we had unlimited data on our cell phone plans, we actually had limits, right? And what that means is that the internet you use from what you have available, right? So as you know, if you know anything about just internet speeds and file size, then you know that browsing the web doesn't really take up many gigabytes. It's when you're streaming, it's when you're downloading things that takes up gigabytes, right? So with that said, depending on how big you want your setup, how often you want to bite these sites, I would say 5 gigabytes is quite enough, bro. You know, and especially if you're getting up here to the more expensive ones, maybe 2 gigabytes is enough for you to do what you need to do. Now let's talk about data center proxies, right? Data center proxies are premium proxies. They're better, right? These proxies are used on sites that have better bot protection, right? These kind of proxies are used for Nike, right? Because they have stellar bot protection, and speed matters, right? Because these are faster than residential proxies. As you notice, these aren't sold by memory, by gigabytes, or anything like that. They are simply sold by the unit, right? So the flip side of these is that there isn't a cap. They're technically unlimited. They're faster, they're unlimited, they work really well. Even if you ran them on Foot Locker and sites like that, they would still work pretty well, simply because they're just more premium, honestly. So if you notice, they cost a little more. You're numbered here, and one thing I didn't mention that it did remind me was that over here, you're not limited to 25 or 10 like you've seen over here in the data center, right? Over here, you can generate 10,000 proxies. Just understand that that's 10,000 instances of data being used, right? And even if it's small, you know what I'm saying, it does add up, right? So keep that in mind. Most commonly, people that run even big setups are probably running between 250 and 100 and 500 proxies at a time on those type of tasks. So I'm also going to kind of show you other bots just to show you that this stuff all kind of works the same, right? Here it's showing us, okay, you want a 1-to-1 proxy ratio. We're going to learn more about that when we get into tasks and everything like that. But when you have your proxies, you would simply come over here, paste them in, and then you have your list of proxies. You would just name them, and then boom, that's how easy it is. Like this bot is called Wrath, right? And this bot, it works the exact same way. And this is also to kind of show you that these bots kind of work the same way, bro. You have sort of lists of proxies like you see here. You would just enter them in like that, right? So that's pretty much how creating proxies work and everything like that. Now I'm going to talk to you about accounts, profiles, and everything like that, because that's one of the biggest parts of botting. That kind of makes it all work too. I mean, every module you're going to be like, dang, I thought that's what made it work. But now you can understand why most people view it as complex, because there's a lot of different moving parts, right? So what you're seeing on the screen right now is on this particular bot who does not want to be named. I will give you a clue. It's a Nike bot, right? So it's going to be a little different, and I'll show you the difference on Wrath as well. However, your accounts are simply going to be, in this context, all your Nike accounts, right? So that's pretty simple. You're gonna add those accounts in. Now on this bot, once again, this is a Nike bot. So you see that once you have those accounts created, let's say you have 6 accounts right here, from your proxy list, which would be mostly ISPs, like I taught you in the last module, you'd have that proxy list that you would have put over here, and then you would just assign it a proxy list, and so on and so forth. Here's that same concept in another bot named Wrath. They're not hiding who they are. So in Wrath, these profiles are pretty much the actual name. Think of it like this, the actual name on the IDs that you're using, right? So think of it like this. Each of those IDs has to have something different about it, right? Because if you're using those same IDs, then club security, ultimately they're gonna say, wait a minute, bro, you've been in here a couple times already, right? So what you need to do, this is where you set your emails, maybe your card numbers, right? Because you also have to have different payment methods a lot of the time, right? So your card numbers, your addresses, and things like that. So you kind of see here that you kind of put your address, everything in there, and then boom, you're set up, right? So a general rule of thumb, bro, that I learned, at least as far as profiles, bro, and tasks, which we're about to talk about in the next module, is depending on what you're botting. If you're botting Nike, then everything needs to be 1-to-1, right? If you're botting, let's say, a Shopify site, everything needs to be 1-to-1. If you're botting Foot Locker or something like that, then that's when you can run maybe 10 profiles. You can run 10 tasks per profile, right? So your profiles, think about it like this. Your profiles are your fake ID. They're the name on the fake ID. The proxy is the plastic on the fake ID, right? And those two work together, right? So however many IDs you have, right? So however many profiles you have is gonna be kind of similar to the amount of tasks you're gonna be able to run, right? Which brings me to tasks, right? Now, most platforms, right? This is once again our bot that we are not supposed to be naming. This once again is a Nike bot, right? So you're gonna need a product URL. You'll actually be able to choose it right here. You're gonna be able to put the size, product ID, account, and all that stuff that you would already have in there. But if you're in a cook group, you would see those numbers, product URLs, or SKU numbers, or anything like that, right? So once again, remember I told you at the beginning of this video, one phone, one entry is one task, right? With this Nike bot, the reason why that makes sense is because since you can only enter per account, then it's gonna be 1-to-1 on this bot. But I'm gonna show you on another bot, I'm gonna show you on Wrath how that works as well. But you would simply, you'd get that information, you'd put that in, and then boom. If let's say you have 2 accounts, you have 2 tasks, right? So now you're already seeing that this person is already a step ahead of you, because boom, if you're on one device, you have to go in and do all this other stuff, while this person is literally just pushing play to start their task, right? Now on Wrath, it works in task groups, right? And ultimately, let's just go to foot sites right now. Let's say you're botting Foot Locker US, right? You see all these tasks. So ultimately, just like the other bot, when it comes to creating tasks, you'll have a set for that where you can create tasks. And this is where you're telling the bot how many times to use your ID, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's 12 tasks right there, right? You can enter up to 40 tasks, right? All right, so right here, this is a live screen recording of me botting in the past. This bot is called NSB, and as you see here, I have like 30 tasks running trying to hit on a restock, right? So what ends up happening is this bot logs what's happening. Boom, you got offer, select offer, add in the cart, added, I got a cart, I got get shipping rate, I got all the way there, and then boom, I was just waiting. As you can see here, sometimes captchas will pop up, so I'll have to complete a captcha, handle the checkpoint, and then boom, your task just run. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this video in the comments. Let me know if I answered the questions or if I made it easier for y'all, man. It's your boy Rico. Love y'all. Let's get it.